Speed racer, he's a demon on wheels. He's a demon and he's gonna be chasing after someone. He's gaining on you, so you better look alive. He's busy revving up the powerful Mach 5. And when the odds are against him and there's dangerous work to do, bet your life, Speed Racer, see it through. Go Speed Racer.
Go Speed Racer. Go Speed Racer.
Go.
Yeah,
I don't get
it. We did it.
What do you mean you don't get it?
What do you mean you don't get it?
I don't get it.
Do you not? What do you not? Do you not get the movie? Do you not get the song? Do you not get the show? Like what expand? You can't.
The words
just,
that are coming out of my mouth. Like.
Thank you to Dan Trell for being our patron of the month, I guess. I don't know. He's the one who has designated this movie for us to watch because of reasons.
Okay. I can't help but like notice like a sense of disdain in your voice, Christian. Do you have thoughts already before we even start the damn summary, or
I refrain from commenting at this time.
Oh, okay. Well, shit. Okay. Well, all right, fine. Fair enough.
Well, we know who's being Devin today.
All right. Well, who wants to read the summary before we get into this movie, or before we get into talking about the movie or whatever? Does anyone want to read the summary? I'll read the summary otherwise. All right. Speed Racer, the racing anime, was a classic installment of 60s era animation and comedy, complete with stiff character frames, outrageous go-go gadget type vehicular weaponry, and plot that had about as much depth as the puddle sitting in my driveway after a rainstorm. The 2008 film adaptation, written and directed by the Wachowski sisters, takes a stab at bringing the classic run-of-the-mill racing drama to the big screen, packed with VFX and a whole lot of RC car kickflips. The visual direction takes inspiration from the zany character and weapon designs of the original anime, but westernizes it just enough for the live-action audience. The movie follows Speed, a troubled child of famed ex-superstar race car driver Rex Racer, as he attempts to respect the legacy of his late brother and make a name for himself as one of the greatest racers of all time. He's joined by his family and his girlfriend as they set out to unravel the wicked plot of Arnold Royalton, an evil CEO bent on keeping the sport of racing fixed so that he may capitalize on the free market manipulation of the sponsors involved in the sport. The movie will make you laugh, cry, leave you on the edge of your seat as it fills the entire 2-hour runtime with General Hospital-style storytelling, Scott Pilgrim reaction shots, and racing sequences that can only be described as what must have inspired the Rocket League developers to build soccer volleyball with high-vaulting RC Nitro cars. And if you're a racing fan and wanted to know if they continued the age-old tradition of drinking milk after winning a Grand Prix, make no mistake, we even have that in here too. Go, Speed Racer. Go, go, Speed Racer. Go, Speed Racer, go.
I want to commend you on this one line you read/wrote. Where is it?
Is it
ex-superstar race car driver?
Famed ex-superstar race car driver Rex Racer?
Something about superstar race car driver made my brain stutter.
Dude, facts.
And I was like, wow, you read that seamlessly. My brain would have tumbled through that.
Well, the problem is that all of the names of every character in this stupid fucking anime, and then by extension the show, because they refuse to change it, which rightfully so, to be fair. We have Speed Racer, Rex Racer, we have Pops Racer, by the way, that's all their last names. Mom Racer, then Trixie is the love interest. Spriddle or Spurtle? I think it's Spriddle was the
Spritle. So too.
Spritle or whatever, and then Chim Chim and Sparky. So every single one of these goons have the like most outrageously benign and dumb fucking names that you could possibly have for any protagonist. All right, but I don't want to come off as like negative because can I be honest? It's been a long time since I've seen this film.
Yes, it has.
And I had a great time. I am a little worried that I might be the only one who had a great time.
I will hold my opinion because I'm about to fact dump all over this bitch. All right.
Oh boy, here we go.
So I'm gonna just read this in order
get
as I
through
wrote
opinions first. You want to just jump straight into facts?
Yeah. Opinions are the bad stuff. We gotta get to the good stuff first. So
we got to do a shit sandwich, Christian. We got to start with good stuff, then the bad stuff, then the good stuff again. Okay.
Yeah. So the film released in 2008 on a $120 million budget.
Could you imagine? a crisp $120. Damn, animation was cheap
This
back
entire
then.
movie, yeah.
$120 million budget while engrossing $93 million in its runtime, which people obviously that's considered a commercial failure, but like it's pretty good in my mind.
No, I would call that a horrible failure.
Yeah, no, that means that they lost over $30 million on this deal. Yeah,
Well, it's a chump change. Anyway,
Right.
so as I mentioned, it was directed by the Wachowski sisters. For those who don't know, they directed the Matrix franchise, V for Vendetta, Cloud Atlas, amongst other notable works of theirs. The film had lots of mixed reviews. I'm sure we'll get into later in our own opinions. Most of the criticisms boiled down to overuse, quote unquote, of CGI, complaints about the runtime and the screenplay, aka script, because I thought screenplay was something completely different than a script. Screenplay is just jargon for scripts, and that bothers me for some reason, and I don't know why.
Welcome to movies.
Well, a script is what you would call like, hey, here are everyone's lines on a piece of paper, but a screenplay is like, hey, here's like the general like trajectory of what we're going to do with like the overall story or whatever, I guess. That's like the only like, I guess, surface level difference. But yeah, essentially they're one and the same.
And years later, the film began developing cult following. Many of the supporters calling the movie underrated and misunderstood, which I think I kind of agree with. But going back to the origins of Speed Racer, aka Mach Go Go Go, as it was named in Japan, was a manga written by Tatsuo Yoshida, which began serialization in 1966 as part of Shueisha's Shonen Book, I guess magazine kind of thing. The series was inspired by Yoshida's earlier and more popular series, Pilot Ace. I tried looking into it. I couldn't tell if it was... I know Yoshida had a history of just writing racing stories. I don't know if this is just like race car stuff or planes or spaceships, who knows, what have you. Couldn't find much. It's quite old. Then the anime came about after being produced by Tatsunoko Productions in April 1967. And it ran until March of 1968, producing 52 episodes. And funny enough, the US was actually like almost simulcasting this series. Like they were dubbing episodes and airing them like not too long after they aired in Japan, which I thought was pretty cool for like the 60s of all time periods. Fun fact, Tatsunoko Productions is actually founded by Tatsuo Yoshida and his two other brothers. Unfortunately, could not get their names, but that's pretty cool. The series saw great success in the U.S. with an estimated 40 million viewers between the 60s and the 70s. And it is agreed upon that this series kind of established, I guess, like anime culture up until the 90s, where a bunch of new series came out and kind of just revamped the whole industry. I'm sure shows like this one and Astro Boy, which I think is a little bit older, really set precedents for, anime as, a cultural film, TV kind of icon thing, as well as, just introducing this Japanese stuff to Americans back in the day. In 1997, Tatsunoko tried modernizing the Speed Racer story with, I guess, like a rebooted series that aired on TV Japan and ABC, or excuse me, TV Tokyo and ABC, which produced 34 episodes. In 2002, this same series was picked up for an English adaptation. Some of us might remember this if we were around, a little older and cognizant at those days. It was produced by DIC. I think it was like either American or Canadian production company, and it was titled Speed Racer X, and it aired on Nickelodeon as part of their Slam cartoon block they were trying to run. Unfortunately, the English adaptation only ran for 13 episodes because after that, there was a company in Santa Monica, California, called Speed Racers Enterprises, and they owned the rights to Speed Racer in the United States, and I guess somehow DIC was told they could just produce this anime adaptation, and no one told Speed Racer Enterprises, or no one had, an understanding of licensing agreements and stuff like that. I don't know who won this court case. I assume Speed Racer Enterprises did. But regardless, unfortunately, the series never got picked back up to finish production, and I am still very upset about that to this day.
So wait, okay. I feel like you said a lot there. There's a lot of knowledge there. So is this a standalone series that is outside of the original 60s anime, or is this essentially
Yes.
a redubbing of the 60s anime?
No,
that
completely
got
new
caught
art
in
style,
licensing?
new-ish
Okay.
story, whole 9 yards, whole shebang.
Got it. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. For a second, I thought you were saying, yeah, and then like a random company decided one day that they were going to redo the 60s anime and then air it on Nickelodeon. And then one other company that has owned the rights for literal decades was like, hold on, you can't just do that. I would be like, okay, that's kind of fair. But yeah, no, a standalone series, that's very interesting. Yeah, I don't know enough about like licensing law to comment any further on that. So, well,
And
I mean,
there's
that's a damn
one
shame.
more thing that I want to read. Going back to the 60s anime. 1 second, I lost my wiki page. Please hold.
I love the fact that we are about 10 minutes in and we have not spent a single moment talking about the movie. We've
Yeah,
only
me
talked
too,
about
bro.
the anime.
I gotta set up backstory. I gotta set up the
I
lore.
feel like these could have just been sprinkled in periodically throughout what we were
Fuck
talking
you. It's
about.
all or
but
nothing with me.
The,
Anyway, back to
the way
60s
that
anime.
Justin likes to be a storyteller is it's all or nothing. It's all right there at the front end. You know what I'm saying?
So
Right.
going back to 60s anime, when it was being dubbed or whatever, I'm gonna just read this blurb from the wiki page because screw me using my own words. For American consumption, major editing and dubbing efforts were undertaken by producer Peter Fernandez, who likewise not only wrote and directed the English language dialogue, but also provided the voices of many of the characters, most notably Racer X and Speed Racer himself. Fernandez was also responsible for a rearrangement of the theme song melody, written and composed by Nobuyoshi Koshibe, and he subsequently also wrote its English lyrics. So shout out to Peter Fernandez for essentially solo
the
carrying the 60s anime in the US. He's almost the sole reason for its success, as far as I'm concerned.
Is he the one behind? Does that mean he's behind the OP that everybody knows and sings?
I believe so.
Go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer. Shit's kind of fire though, if I'm going to be honest.
I never heard it.
All right. Are you satisfied, Justin? Did you feel like you got everything
that's
off
everything
of your
I
chest? All right, thank you for talking so much about the anime, with which this has nothing to do with. I did have some talking points that related to the anime, but I'm almost tempted to just skip it. But before I do, Christian, have
Hi.
you even watched
Yeah,
this
I'm here.
anime before?
No, not a single second of it.
Not even a moment.
Not a single
one
moment.
not one iota. I have seen the anime.
Not even a microsecond.
It's been a minute. And I would say that, okay, I think this might be my hottest take. This movie actually kind of captured a lot of what made the anime fun. Can I be real with you? I think the VFX was a lot, but they still kind of captured the energy of the anime in the best way possible that they could have if they were going to turn this into a fucking
So you're
flick.
saying this movie is better than the anime? That's what you're saying?
I am saying, okay, no, hold on. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, are you interested in like 60s era fucking anime? Because if
No.
you are, then no, not in the slightest. Then if like that's like your vibe, I would say, this doesn't hold a fucking candle to it in the slightest. However, if you're open to, I guess, a different interpretation designed for like a Western audience and stuff, I don't know. I didn't hate this flick. I think we should go to opinions before we go any further. And I will say, and I will die on this this afternoon because I have made this decision. This Speed Racer movie was actually kind of fire, and I had a great time. Thoughts?
I would say that this movie was good.
Okay.
I can tell you that I enjoyed this more than I figured I would. I did not expect to. All right, so I mean, everybody has just about heard that Speed Racer was a generally bad movie. Everybody has pretty much accepted that fact across time. But so knowing that, I went into it kind of keeping my mind open for these sorts of things so I can make my own opinion based off of what I watch and not what other people said. This movie is better than people probably give it credit for. I don't know how it compares, like I said, to the original anime. If they cut stuff out that people really enjoy, I don't know. If they kept stuff in that people hate, I don't know. I think what they did here was good. There are, now I will say, the best parts of the movie are when they're racing, which is how it should be. everything in between is basically garbage. I don't care.
Oh no, not everything.
There's plot in there. It only serves you to get from race to race. I don't really care about this whole thing of like, yeah, the conglomerate guy wants to sponsor him so that he can have another champion fixed racer under his belt, or the Japanese company wants its stocks to go up, or whatever the fuck that was. Who cares? I just want to see the cars race across my screen, and for there to be lots of pretty colors, and for the race car to do crazy physics bending shit. That's all I was there for. At a certain point.
Honestly, I think that's fair.
Especially when they intro the movie with that crazy 15 to 20 minute sequence. That sequence was fire, actually.
That shit was fire, though, wasn't it?
That opening sequence where they're trying to sum up probably the first 12 episodes of the anime in 20 minutes. That was pretty good. I vibe with that. And the Grand Prix at the end, also really good. I would say that this movie is very bookended by the best parts of the movie, and everything in between. The races in between are also good, but the really good stuff is the first 20 minutes and the last 20 minutes.
Really?
I can sort of agree with this take. I think that in a vacuum, Christian's correct. I think it's very funny because I do think that one of the biggest criticisms of this movie was the excessive use of VFX. Looking at this movie today in 2023 or whatever the fuck, even though it used excessive amounts of VFX, whatever. The VFX that it used, honestly, served one of the best parts of the entire movie. All of the races that used excessive VFX was fun. And that's really what I'm here for. So in a vacuum, I can kind of agree with Christian. The best parts of the movie was the races. It was outrageous. You got the Mach 5 that's literally jumping over dudes. They're doing kick flips. They're bashing into each other. It's Rocket League, but in a movie. And it was hilarious.
The whole, I think personally, the appeal of Speed Racer, it's supposed to be action-packed, maybe a little zany racing. No one's here for, even the anime, no one's here for plot narratives or there's one in the whole freaking franchise. It's just, who's Racer X? Is he Rex Racer? Who knows? We probably do. Speed doesn't know. That's the only real plot in the entire series and the entire franchise ever. Everything else is just the Mach 5 is a really cool car that's tricked out, and we just want to watch races and watch, cool shit happen. That's it.
That's all I'm here for.
This isn't a complicated series. You know what I mean?
It's funny you say that, though, because I don't know if you've seen the anime recently, but it does not hold up. And I mean, unless you have a fondness for 60s era animation, which I can totally feel, I'm sure that there was a huge hurdle for them to work on over, they didn't have computers. They didn't have, computer generated, frames that they could just throw into the mix. The anime is kind of trash when you compare it to literally any other anime today, but I think that's by design, right? As the industry evolved, it's normal for that to happen. The anime did not have nearly the kind of action that this fucking movie did by a mile.
I would assume not. 60s era anime, they were not super big on that sort of flashy nature.
No, not even a little bit. Maybe a new movie today would dare to do something like this movie accomplished. But the series back in the day, I mean, yeah, he might have had spiky treads on his tire once upon a time. But they milked that sequence for 3 minutes. So they were oh yeah, we got to make sure we reuse these frames that we spent 7 days fucking painting for the audience or whatever. You know what I mean? So to that extent, I would say this movie absolutely succeeded. I had a great time with that. Now, the plot.
Wait. I know Justin's loosely talked about it already, but what is your overarching take on the movie?
Okay, so going back to what I remember my opinion was as a kid, I remember not liking it for one reason or another. It was probably just because, it wasn't the anime, it wasn't the TV show that I grew up on, so I thought it was whack for one reason or another. I don't know what I didn't like about it as a kid. Now that I'm way older, and I'm watching it again, I'm giving it, a fair shot. I don't love the movie, but I definitely don't hate it. I think it's an enjoyable movie. You watch once in a while, every couple of years, and you're like, this is cool. People give the CGI some shit. I think for 2008 and what this movie was trying to work with, I think it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It had similar effects to like Spy Kids and Shark Boy and Lava Girl. And for certain scenes, it felt a little too cartoony, I guess. But I think overall, it was really good.
It's especially egregious in the beginning when they're in the Royalton factories. Mm-hmm. And everyone's riding around on motor scooters, and you see the assembly lines happening in the background. That all feels very janky and, like you said, Spy Kids-esque, but they tone it down a little bit over the course of the movie, and make it a little less obvious, and kind of stick to just doing it when the races are happening after that, I think. I don't remember it being particularly in your face outside of the races afterwards, so they feels like they learned halfway through making the movie, like, ooh, this might be a little bit too much on people's eyes. Let's kind of dial it back from like 10 to 2, maybe.
I think the one that just sticks out at me the most was at the very beginning when we were in Speed's flashback and Rex is picking him up from school, and it's just very clearly a green screen, like from start to finish.
That was pretty rough. Like you couldn't just find a home in some type of suburb and then just use
around
footage from there. Exactly. Like, why did we have to make freaking Lazy Town with CGI? I don't understand.
Lazy Town. I mean, I do think that. Okay, so it's funny you mentioned Shark Boy and Lava Girl in Spy Kids. I felt the exact same energy. I do think that they tried to... I feel like for the VFX artists, their challenge was they didn't want to go too realistic, because like this movie came out around the same time as like Transformers did. And Transformers, talk about, how obnoxious you think the movie might be. Its CGI was not that bad. So cut to this flick, and you ask yourself, okay, well, where did the VFX artists, draw the line? I feel like there was a mixture of, okay, we want to sort of have that like campiness and that sort of like cartoon energy, because we know what we are. We know we're a movie based off an anime from the 60s or whatever. They want to sort of, I guess, attract the crowd that know the anime. In addition, come up with like really cool VFX for like a modern generation. And honestly, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty okay. It's not terrible.
Yeah, it serves its purpose quite well, I think. Outside of in the race scenes, they do a good job.
Absolutely, yes. They definitely gave the A team the race scenes, and then like everyone else was just kind of like there for the ride for any other scene or whatever. But we do open up in this movie, and I actually kind of liked this scene a lot. I don't know what it was, but it spoke to me. Speed Racer is racing, and he's like thinking back when he was a child, pretending to race, and he's thinking about his brother or whatever. All of our characters, by the way, have outrageous names. We have Speed Racer, Pops Racer, Rex Racer, Trixie, I don't know her last name, Mom Racer, Sprittle Racer, Chim Chim the Chimp, also known as the monkey from Nope, and Sparky, who was the, I guess, pit crew or something for Speed Racer. It's been a minute since I've seen the anime, if I'm going to be honest. I don't really know of Sparky. Sparky did not ring a bell at all before I watched this movie again for the first time in however many fucking years.
Can't confirm these are all correct. Also, Trixie doesn't have a last name because she's Trixie, and that's it.
Oh, perfect. And I like this bit. So we open up with Speed Racer. He's racing in the Mach 5, and he's kicking ass, by the way. We're already open up. He's like the best to ever do it. And for whatever reason, I guess the script writers decided to say that on the track they could do this like ghost apparition, and he was racing not against the guy in second place, but against the ghost of his brother that set like the track record or whatever. And to like set a precedent of like who our main character was, they had him racing against his brother. He was about to win, but then on the straightaway he pulled back so that he could let his brother hold on to the title of the best racetrack. And the reason he did that was because he wanted to, like, I guess, conserve the memory of his brother or whatever. But at this point, we already know. OK, so Speed Racer, best racer in the show of all time, probably. And he's also like a really cool guy.
I want to comment on this. I think one of the best things going for this movie is the visuals. Like, CGI is pretty good, in my opinion. The costume design, amazing. Just colors, illustration, just like. Visually, this movie is fantastic. From set design to character design, costume design, everything. I love it. The guy's playing Speed Racer, beautiful man, fits the image perfectly in my mind.
I think he's he has a little less emotion than I figured somebody should have in Speed's role. at sometimes it felt like he wasn't expressing as much as I would have assumed someone in these situations would, but otherwise I have no real complaints about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then from this race, we cut to, and this is where like the real plot starts. Okay, so this is essentially a plot against capitalism, as most New World plots tend to go. And this is where I think we lose Christian. Is that correct, Christian? This is when we lose
yeah,
you.
when we leave the race and we start doing this whole family thing, I don't care.
Well, okay. Hold on. This is
on.
not Fast and the Furious. Let's get that straight.
It is, though.
It
He does
really is.
everything. He does everything for his family. He says it multiple times throughout the movie, which is fine. I can appreciate
Aren't you
it.
Italian? Aren't you all about family? Like, how does it not resonate with you?
Wow. I didn't realize
He's going
racist
after your
Justin
roots,
was
dog.
coming out.
Don't you wow me, all right? I asked the question,
no.
are you a family man or not, Christian?
I
Answer the
am
question.
very much a family man. What
So
I'm
what's the
telling
problem
you
here?
is that the plot of this movie serves basically no purpose other than to get us
Hey,
to
yo, Louie,
different
what's
parts
his
of the...
problem here? What's he complaining
Don't
about?
talk to Louie. Louie ain't fucking gonna respond to you.
You can't get Louie to talk to you.
Uncle
He only
Louie don't
talks
even
to
like
me.
you. He told me yesterday when we were playing poker.
That's not what Louie told me yesterday when we were playing poker.
Yeah,
at my
you got a
place.
different Louie
Okay,
then.
so I will say that this movie, I actually kind of like the plot more than I think maybe most people might, but I might be being a little, I might have like, diamond crusted eyes right now, if I'm going to be honest.
Okay, I do have
this
to.
mo-
Sorry
Go
to
ahead.
interrupt.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I have to ask, who's the target audience for this film? I feel
don't
like
know.
this movie
Presumably
obviously
teenagers.
tries to capitalize on the existing market of, age-old speed racer fans, right? Young and old.
Yes.
But also I forgot one other fact. This movie was in development hell for like at least 10 years. They were trying
I'm glad you brought that
Were
up.
they
Can I
really?
tell you?
Yes.
Do you have any idea how close we got to Johnny Depp being Speed Racer?
to... Holy shit, that sounds
So
awful.
this is a true fucking fact. So in 1992, they announced that Warner Brothers held the option to create this live action film adaptation, and in October of 1994, singer Henry Rollins was offered the role of Racer X, and in 1995, Johnny Depp was going to be Speed Racer. But because the film did not have a director, it basically fell into development hell back in 1995. And then Depp, after he was like, hey, I can't agree to film when you guys said I wanted to film. I think that was around October or whatever. He in California. He was like, I got to take care of personal business. When he came back, he was like, hey, you guys don't have a director. I'm going to bounce. And then that was where the movie ended.
Well,
so they never found a director for their
20,
for their
20
film
years
back in
ago,
those
Johnny
days.
Depp might not have been a problem, I guess.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Johnny Depp, not my speed racer. That's for fucking sure.
He
Not
was
my
the
Speed
he was the Speed Racer until he took a sabbatical for a hot minute and then came back and was like, hey, you guys still don't have a director? I'm fucking out.
I would
He
have
took
never
a
thought development
sabbatical.
hell would be the best thing that happened to this fucking franchise.
Yeah, he
Holy
took
shit.
a sabbatical and came back and realized that they had taken a longer sabbatical and was like, never mind.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, continue, Justin. I just wanted to
I
chime
can't tell
in
the
there.
target audiences because it, obviously trying to
It's
target
teenagers.
the speed racer fans, right? But
No,
then the
nobody who
Wachowski
watched the original show
sisters
cares
pick up
about
this
this.
film and pitch it as like a family-friendly sports action comedy thing, and I feel like they wanted to target this film toward kids because why wouldn't you? It's so easy for them, right? Like this is so easily appealing to young boys, probably young girls too. It's just race cars and cool flashy colors, right? What's not to love as a kid? But then
Correct.
you consider the plot and just there's a lot of like cursing in this film than I remember. We say the word shit so many times. I don't know how this movie is still PG or
Oh, I
PG-13
can
or whatever it
one up
was.
you on that one because they drop an R word in the first like 15 minutes of this movie.
They drop an R word. What's the R word? I
They
don't
drop
even know.
and not even they drop a retard in this movie.
Oh no!
There's a
I didn't even pay attention.
Not even that. It comes from a 10-year-old girl while Speed is still a small child. It's when they're in the I don't know where
This is
they
where you
were.
introduced Trixie.
This is where we introduce Trixie. Trixie's talking to like 3 other girls from their class or whatever, and they're
Right.
talking about how weird Speed is. And I don't remember if she was directly referring to Speed Racer. I assume she was, but she's talking about, she starts saying like, and the R word is such a, and then Trixie slaps the shit out of her. And then
rightfully so. Shit, dude. I didn't know they dropped the R word.
I had to pause the movie and be like, did they really just... This is a PG movie.
God damn, dude.
2000s were different.
The 2000s was a different time, man.
I guess so.
Hell?
Also, in case anybody else is like me and they looked at young Trixie when she was like a little girl and thought she looked familiar, that's Ariel Winter from what's
from
that?
Modern Family.
Modern Family, thank you.
Oh, wow. That's a fun fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I will say, I think I might be in this lonely camp. Okay, so I do think it's a little too convoluted, but I kind of like what they attempted with the story. I sort of agree with what you're saying, Justin, where you're like, I don't know who this target audience is, because we want to attract like the 60s era, anime lovers. We want to attract, a new generation, and the new generation's not going to give a fuck about, the problems with capitalism. However, my counter to that is
ninjas.
Exposing the problems with capitalism is a fun time. And ninjas, exactly.
I think you mean nanjas.
Yeah, nanjas.
What a line, by the way.
What a
fucking line from Pops. He's like, more like nanjas. Be surprised.
And then Trixie like right after that, like comments on how like shitty they were, or how easily the Racer family dispatched them. She goes, "Cool beans." I was like, "What?
Cool beans?"
That's a dated
she was
line.
Like, cool beans.
She drops a cool beans, and I was like, "Who was the writer for this 5-minute section of the movie? Because they need to get smacked."
No, I don't want to smack it because
they need
honestly,
a wake-up call.
It was just campy enough. Now I'll hit them for the fucking R word, but saying cool beans there, I don't know, man. Something about it just kind of like
that just screams 2000s energy to me. Like, well, I haven't heard that phrase in decades.
Like, despite they have all this advanced technology, but the like the way they all dress and kind of the way their homes are all, they're still like caught in the 60s and 70s style wise.
The Racer house, like the design.
So the fact that they talk that way too is unsurprising as well, and probably deliberate. But nanjas is ridiculous. Someone needs to get fired for that.
I was like, okay, so that entire section of the movie was a complete blur to me. I for a minute I thought that I was watching like an extended cut, because I do not remember
the Snyder cut of Speed Racer.
I thought I was watching the Snyder cut of Speed Racer. I do not remember a scene where John Goodman grabs a ninja, it zooms in on his
and just starts flipping him like a pizza. It was beautiful.
Yeah, flipping his ass like a pizza. He almost baned his ass for a minute. I was like, is he about to bane this motherfucker?
He drops him on a table, and the sound effects just made it sound a lot harder than he intended. I don't know. I couldn't tell if he broke a piece of glass or his back. It's unclear.
That split second when he had the dude above his head, and I was like, oh, is he about to break him over his knee? And then he just throws him on a fucking table instead. I was
and you're like, close enough, dude. Honestly.
Imagine though.
Yep.
But then he throws him out a fucking window. Like,
well, he pizza doughs that guy, and then he throws him on a food service cart, and then rolls the cart to the window, and the ninja flies out the window. And then he drops the line, somebody I think it was Trixie even. She goes like, were those ninjas? And he goes, ninjas, more like nanjas.
So I will say, okay, so it's funny that you say that the best parts of the movie are the racing, which I totally agree with. I would throw this in for like a close ringer second. These dumb fight scenes, I had a lot of fun with.
It's not a child movie. It's not like a child target movie without ninjas in it. That's all I know.
I can accept just the hotel fight scene. I mean, there weren't a lot of fight scenes in the movie.
Okay, what do you think about the shootout? The shootout, I felt like it was pretty wild.
Don't care.
That felt like this is not PG. What the fuck is going on?
We just kept cutting to Sparky, who was doing nothing the entire time.
He was
like,
trying his best.
Can we talk about this? Okay, hold on. So Sparky, he was caught, and then he like wanted to fight one of the goons, but then the goon like threw it like he put a pistol out, and he was like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'm fucked."
Shoved it up his nostril.
Yeah, like the little kid helped him or something, and he got free. And then in the preceding frame, I think it was Speed Racer fighting like another goon. You just see Sparky in the back like a fucking Street Fighter character with his fists up in the air, and he's like pretending like he's gonna fight or whatever, and they cut to him like 2 to 3 times, and I'm just like, are you gonna do anything, bud?
That's what
And
I'm
he's in the
saying.
back.
Like, just stop cutting to him. I don't care. Sparky's not gonna do anything. He's
I
the
want
only
to
one
see
who
what
doesn't
you do
know
when
how
a
to
guy
fight.
holds a fucking pistol up your nostril. Let's see how tough
I wouldn't
you
do
are,
anything
huh?
either, but I'm not in this world. I don't know martial arts. The rest of the family knows a martial art of some kind for some reason. Even Tracy.
All I'm saying is that was the anime energy that I think actually was a shining spot on this film. I thought that they actually played off, like, okay, the anime energy. Let's talk about that for a split second. They attempted to encompass this like westernized version of what we would expect live action anime characters to look like. And I feel like they accomplished that way better than, let's say, the Cowboy Bebop rendition that came out
Or
on
the
Netflix.
fucking Dragon Ball Z movie. Holy
Or
shit.
the Dragon Ball Z Evolution shit. I feel like this, it knew it was campy. It knew what it tried to accomplish. And I feel like because of that, they sort of hit the mark. And I kind of want to respect that, if I'm going to be honest.
Well, I would agree. I would agree that this movie has a lot of anime energy to it, because everything about anime serves this sort of ridiculousness of, you know, what you can do with animation. And so they do that with these like weird fight scenes, especially the one in the hotel, and all of these nonsensical physics bending powers that the cars implement. So yeah, I would say they very easily hit that mark when it comes to like trying to replicate anime in live action form.
And it's just good enough to where you're like, okay, I buy this. But we got very much sidetracked. This movie essentially is about the trials of capitalism. A main goon, I forget his fucking name. Ronald something. What the hell? I'm scrolling. Trying to
Royalton.
find
That's all I know
Royalton.
his name is.
Royalton. Excuse me. Royalton comes up to Speed. He's like, hey, I want to buy you, essentially. And Speed Racer's like, nah, dude.
I'm
And then
not for
Royalton's like-
sale.
Railton's like, well, let me tell you something. You either sign with me, or I'm going to make sure you never drive again, and I'm going to bankrupt your fucking family. And then Speed Racer's like, that can't be true. And he's like, oh, but it is. And by the way, just so you know, I've rigged every race since the dawn of time. Or whatever the fuck. So this whole movie, and I think this is where the plot was fine. The whole movie is essentially about Speed Racer fighting against the man, being this capitalistic billionaire motherfucker who wants to fix all races so that he can like fuck with his own stock price. Where the movie starts to falter, I think, is when plot 2 comes into the mix. So halfway through the movie, they throw in this new plot element where Racer X comes out. They work with another driver by the name of I wrote it down, but Teo, excuse me, who we don't know his origins, whatever. He's like, he just a racer, but he wants to win, and he knows like dirt on the main billionaire guy. So he wants to win a big race. And in order to win the big race, Racer X, who works for the feds, recruits Speed Racer so that they can together win the race, and then they will get the dirt on the big billionaire guy. That is all of like a 40-minute portion of this film. And I honestly had to like look up some of the synopsis to figure out exactly like how some of these characters are connected, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, this especially, like you said, is just when the plot just loses itself. It starts making next to no sense, despite the fact that it feels like they think they've explained the plot well enough. But you get to like that the murder race where everyone dies 90% of the time, and you're just like, wait, why are they doing this again? Who's this guy racing? Wait, why is now Trixie's racing? What is happening?
Okay, I did kind of like the bit where Trixie started racing.
That's yeah, it's fine. And, you know, and they do that whole thing, and then it leads to the shootout later. this is where the plot goes bonkers. It loses me entirely. I just stop caring. I turn my brain off when the races aren't on.
I stopped trying to pay attention. So what we got was the main lead racer guy. He wanted to win so that his dad's company could get higher stock value. It turns out the main billionaire guy was planning on buying him out anyway, but now they've just tricked themselves into making billionaire guy pay even more, which really doesn't amount to much. Speed Racer got betrayed. And then the sister of the racer guy was like, hey, after we won the race, we get one invitation to the Grand Prix. I'm going to give it to you. And then he was like, yo, bet. And that was the end of plot 2. And honestly, that's the best synopsis I think that we could possibly give, because that entire section of the movie was a little jarring and a little hard to follow. I feel like when they brought in billionaire number 2, you lost me a bit. Stick with billionaire number 1. Give me one villain to sink my teeth into is all I'm asking for here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Moving into plot number 3, we do go back to the race, and then we're back to good old CGI mayhem. And main billionaire villain dude Royalton is out here telling his main lead racer, hey, I'm going to give you some cheat devices to fuck with Speed Racer. And he's like, I'm never going to use that shit. He absolutely used that shit because he's not shit at all. And then Speed Racer, by believing in the heart of the cars, manages to get back on the track. Thank you. Wait.
Okay, wait. Actually, I want to rewind quickly because
go ahead.
They rebuild a whole car. What happened to the Mach 5?
Okay, so this was what I think I remember, and I think this is actually in the anime, but anyone who's a real fan can tell me otherwise. The Mach 6 is a car, and in the anime it is as well. But the Mach 5, I think in the anime, the Mach 5 just got flat out fucking destroyed, and they built a Mach 6. I think for the plot in this movie, they used a bunch of fucking buzzwords that mean absolutely nothing except for them or whatever. I'm pretty sure the Mach 5 was not a legal vehicle for the Grand Prix. So they built the Mach 6, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So the legality of the Mach 6 was the reason why it was constructed. Whereas in the anime, I think, if I'm not mistaken, at one point, there was a period where like Speed Racer got completely destroyed, but he survived or something. And then they built a new car and they called it the Mach 6. So the directors here were just kind of like, okay, we need a reason to make a Mach 6. And this is just kind of like the thing they came up with.
Okay, yeah, because it was we get that scene where they get the Grand Prix ticket and Pops is like, oh shit, we don't have a car. And I was like, wait, but they made it through the death race with the Mach 5 at maybe not perfectly fine, but it wasn't completely totaled. So, and they were like, we got to make another one. And I was like, but what happened to the Mach 5? It was fine.
Why are we rebuilding this? No. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure because I remember they used a specific word. It was like the tungsten driver or something like that. I think it tried to justify that like the drivetrain needed to be made of a certain fucking function or some shit like that in order to qualify for the Grand Prix. I don't completely remember, but then I remember John Goodman's character who played Pops, by the way. I learned that earlier today. I did not remember that going into this film. I was delightfully surprised. John Goodman's character Pops.
There's a lot of people in this movie.
There is a lot of people. Susan Sarandon? What the hell?
Was mom, yeah.
Was fucking mom. Anyway, he was like, yeah, how long did it take billionaire guy number 3 to make his cars? And then like the Spriggett kid was 36 hours. Then he was like, well, we'll do it in 32. And they did. Look at that. You see the power.
Bonkers, by the way.
Bonkers,
completely
by the way.
Bonkers. This is some anime bullshit.
Yeah, you can't just hand make a vehicle fast. I'm sorry. The reality is humans are not faster than robots under the vast majority of controlled circumstances. I'm sorry to say.
What if they had a robot helping them?
They didn't, though. We watched like just about every step of the way.
Surely they had like, a robot arm doing heavy lifting.
No, they did.
AI
literally had a chimp.
They had a
That
Pops.
was the closest thing.
They had a Pops. That's all they had.
Well, that's just proof that American muscle and ingenuity is all we need to turn this country around. Am I right, kids?
This is nonsense.
I
This is
need you to stop. You're a complete animal.
I'm the
absolute
animal.
But we find out. Oh, and then there's also this like whole bit about Racer X, and I do think we should talk about it. So Racer X is exposed to us at the okay. So partway through the movie, can I tell you, I actually got baited. So when we hear about Racer's brother, we are given the context that his brother Rex died in like a mysterious car accident, whatever. And I remember from the anime that Racer X was his brother. I remember that.
Yes.
However, when this movie was playing, I was like, okay, yeah, it's brother. But then they did the fucking debate on me where Speed Racer figures it out. And then I was like, okay, wow, that's interesting. I forgot that he figured it out. But then Rex was like, of course I'm not your brother. I'm a completely different guy. And then I was like, huh? Oh, they completely changed my they changed it. Okay, my bad. I respect you guys. And then later in the movie, you find out that indeed Racer X, this mysterious big racer guy, was his brother, but he went through like fucking surgical face manipulation,
facial
or whatever.
reconstruction surgery.
Facial reconstruction.
Oh my god, what a fucking twist, dude. That is a soap opera twist if I've ever seen
I'm
it.
convinced this is just used to justify why, they couldn't have one actor play both ages. That's what I'm assuming here. That like they just couldn't age, young Rex up with cosmetics, I guess. I don't know. This makes zero sense.
They didn't have to. They could have just had two different actors and then been like, oh yeah, you're clearly Rex, but just, older or something.
I mean, you have to have, certain, you have to make them look a little bit alike, and maybe they just couldn't find the actors necessary to pull that off. I don't know.
Listen, all I'm saying is if Joseph Gordon-Levitt can pass as what's his fucking name? Robin Williams? Not Robin Williams.
You mean Robin from Batman?
No, sorry, who's Die Hard again? Who's John McClane?
Bruce Willis?
Bruce Willis, thank you. If Joseph Gordon-Levitt can pass as Bruce Willis in fucking Looper, I think they can make. Yeah, yes.
Oh, he's referencing a completely different third movie, Looper.
I remember that movie. I did not realize, or I vaguely remember that movie. I never saw it. I did not realize Joseph Gordon-Levitt's supposed to be 20-year-old John McClane, Bruce Willis guy. What?
That is correct.
Yes. I don't know where this is going.
Spoilers for Looper, by the way.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm just saying there's no real rules. They didn't have to do this fucking General Hospital-esque bullshit where it's like, yeah, I got facial reconstructive surgery.
Never has been any rules.
My family.
I will say that I also, because they make it painfully obvious that Racer X is going to end up being Rex Racer, up to the point where he pulls his mask off and goes, "No, idiot, I'm not Rex. Your brother's dead. Dead as shit.
Your brother's fucking dead, dude."
I will say, for a little while, I was like, I guess they made it super obvious so that they could pull this on you. All right, sure, why not?
What would make you hold on to the belief that that's actually Rex the entire time? Like, they showed you a completely different man. Like, what seed of doubt grew?
There wasn't necessarily a particular scene, but in my head, I was thinking about how the coincidences just make no sense for this random guy to be concerned about Speed. The whole scene where he goes to that other raceway. Speed's real angry about the whole thing with billionaire number 2 not giving him the file on billionaire number 1, and he goes angrily racing on the track. Racer X shows up. He knows he can match Speed, turn for turn basically, and pulls the same crazy stunts around the bends that he does. Knows that he was there in the first place, and then I'm thinking to myself that. Like, technology is crazy in this world. They may look like they're in the 70s, but they have these crazy ass cars, and they have flying vehicles. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that something could be different about it. And then at the end, you go the CIB guy or whatever his name is.
Dude, I love his fucking name. Can I tell you?
Does he have an actual name besides CIB guy? What's his actual name?
Inspector Detector.
No fucking shit. Shut your mouth.
I thought that was like a typo you wrote on the sheet.
I'm not kidding.
I was like, do you have a stroke?
Detector.
Whatever.
That is his fucking name.
What an sucking. I hate this show. Yeah, Inspector Detector comes by and he's like, "Yo, don't you want to go down there? They're bringing the whole family." And then that's supposed to be, and then they, you got the whole facial reconstruction thing go on, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Technology in this world is nuts. So I would say I was convinced for like 10 or 15 minutes that Racer X wasn't actually Rex Racer.
Same.
But then I was like, all right, you know what? Never mind. This is dumb. This is a red herring. They're trying to throw me off the scent.
So did your brain have a theory of how the fuck he's still actually Rex Racer and not some random schmuck? Did you have a read on the fucking plastic surgery bit, or
I guess I didn't specifically think that it was plastic surgery, but I just assumed there was some way that this person was still Rex Racer, whether it was like maybe he had some elaborate face mask on, I don't know, which more or less is the truth. But yeah, I didn't put too much thought into how he would still be. I just knew that he more than likely was, because there were just too many coincidences. Also, I mean, the name is not very inventive either in terms of throwing you off the scent.
Racer X versus Rex Racer.
So
god damn it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, they had me for a little bit, I have to admit, but my brain rubbed its two cells together and I figured it out again.
I got absolutely debated, and I've even seen the anime. So to be perfectly honest with you, I'll give them the pass on this one. They did well. They did very well. But yeah, no, I mean, shit, dude. Did we already like get through like most of the movie? This is like a 2-hour long movie. I think the only drawbacks in the plot and the runtime fall within the mid area plot. But I understand what they tried to accomplish. I just think that there were one too many billionaires to keep track of. Because as soon as billionaire number 2 got what he wanted, he was basically written out of the show completely. It was all about billionaire 1 again. So we don't resolve to put billionaire number 2 in prison or anything. We only finish the race and put billionaire number 1 in prison. So essentially, billionaire 2 never needed to exist from the get.
That family is also, like, at the end of the movie, very in Speed Racer's court as well, because the brother is all about Speed being the winner. The father, the billionaire number 2, he seems mostly indifferent because he's stoic billionaire guy, but they seem very much like they were rooting for Speed anyway. So like, wait, what's even the point of betraying him halfway through the movie and not just giving him the file? There's no point.
Yeah.
Money.
Give him the fucking invitation then.
What do you mean money?
Hold on. There was nothing for them to lose from giving Speed Racer the invitation from that point. Like, they had to do this whole like 5-minute interval of the sister, deviating away from the family so that Speed Racer could get an invite. Why didn't they all just be like, hey, we know we fucked you, but like, here, you can have this as compensation. Like, what if they like unanimously did that? That would make a little bit more sense.
And when Speed shows up at the Grand Prix and the family's all sitting around the table, they're looking at each other. Well, the brother and the father are looking at each other like, how the hell did he get here? How did he get an invitation? And then the brother looks at the sister who's just quietly sipping her drink and he smirks at her. He approves of the action. Just give him the thing in the first place, or give him the file or whatever they were promised originally, because the invitation was just a thing she had that the brother was supposed to be using, but decided he wasn't going to conveniently.
It might have even elevated billionaire number 2 just slightly if it was his idea to let Speed Racer get the invitation, because then he'd be like, hey, I'm just playing both sides. I got my money. You can get your race. Everybody wins.
Yeah.
But only slightly. Either way, I still don't know if I love that like mid-plot element.
No, I mean, as a whole, I don't feel like it needs to be there anyway, but whatever.
It was worth it to get Snake Oiler on the screen, though. That guy is a fucking vibe and a half. He's the dude who threw snakes at everybody.
What was he? Was he a vibe for you?
I mean, I don't know. Like, he had like a really cool suit and like a cool car or whatever.
The car, I guess I can agree with, but he was just kind of a whiny bitch.
Yeah, he was kind of a whiny bitch. What say you, Justin? You've been quiet for a minute. How you doing over there, big guy?
Head empty, no thoughts.
Good talk.
Head empty, no thoughts.
Well, I guess that pretty much does sum up the rest of the movie, unless you have some other burning thought maybe about it.
I thought, like I said, the visuals were really cool. I thought the Mach 5 in this film was really well done.
Dude, it was fucking mwah. The CGI for both the Mach 5 and Mach 6 was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I've never been more excited to see a car kickflip itself more than I did in these fucking 2 hours of watching this movie.
Man, the bad guys really fell for that move so many times, too.
Bro, they've never seen it before. They're like, this dude can fucking do a kickflip.
He did it like
crazy.
5 times in the same sequence, though. Like, he would.
They thought he had a cooldown. They were like, surely that guy runs out of like hydraulic or something at some point, right? You can't just keep doing it. You can't keep getting away with
Except
this.
you can. He's got the Bernoulli motor or whatever.
Unironically, I think I want to see this movie in theaters just so that I can experience these like car kick flips on the big screen.
Okay,
I honestly feel like
this is not a joke. I randomly looked up the movie and somehow came across in theaters. And so out of curiosity, I clicked it on Google. If you have like an Alamo Draft House near you, you might be able to catch this movie right now in theaters.
I was going to say the Alamo is this type of movie theater that tends to run older movies like that. So
I'm in. I'm gonna fucking sift through and try to find everything I can.
All right. Well, that about wraps up the movie discussion then.
All right.
What's next? What do you do now?
We do have a movie. What reviews from the whatever? Christian, could just take the floor. I don't know.
Right.
This part.
Yeah,
Christian,
yeah.
thing.
I've got some comments and concerns here that we like to go over whenever we watch some of these movies. So I've trolled around the interweb and found a few of my favorite ones from people. Let's see. Let's get a good one to start us off. Let's do this one because Justin spoiled it anyway before we started because I told him not to look at my list and then he did. Watching this movie is like firing Skittles into your eyes for 2 hours.
Not wrong.
I love that. That's actually fantastic.
Which is pretty good. Very visceral image there.
I suddenly know exactly what you're describing to me.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's Speed Racer.
Also, the season finale of Demon Slayer season 2, but that's just my opinion.
Right.
Okay.
While maybe not as consistently engaging, this is genuinely in the same lane as Spider-Verse and Fury Road in terms of visuals. If you had any doubts that this wasn't a good movie, please revisit the Nanja joke. And to
This person's a hater.
And to you, a hater? No, this person loves this movie. What are you talking about? They unironically love that joke, and I unironically hate them for it.
Wow.
I hate the
sorry,
person, not the movie.
Person, I misunderstood your vibe.
Yeah.
I thought you were trying to say it's not a good movie because it's a Nanja joke.
No, he loves this movie because of the first.
What do you mean the lore?
I want to check and see if that was like a scripted or unscripted line from fucking John Goodman. Maybe he just threw that in there at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You'll be digging real deep for a long time, I can assure you.
Sorry, go ahead, Christian. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Every so often, I get really drunk and stay up past my bedtime and watch Speed Racer and cry through the Grand Prix to make sure I can still feel anything. I don't know why they're crying through the Grand Prix unless they got too drunk and the visuals are making their eyes hurt. If you had said the opening 20 minutes, I could understand.
Yeah,
but the Grand Prix is not that emotional.
The first 20 minutes, I'm gonna be honest with you. I welled up. I didn't cry. I didn't shed no tear. I welled up a little bit when homie was like about to beat his brother's time or whatever, but then he took his foot off the pedal. I thought that was kind of a touching moment. I like that a lot. I don't know why. I think I'm a sucker for dumb shit like that.
No, it's
surely
cool.
There's something of emotional weight and value in trying to root for the guy to beat capitalism. Surely that's a cry-worthy moment.
Even before capitalism was involved, you had my emotions heightened. I think that's why I like this movie a lot.
I'm fine with him just trying to like beat the system and that allegedly killed his brother. Like that's enough for me. I don't need this whole plot about fucking bringing down the man and all that. Like it's fine, but you know, whatever.
Remember, kids, eat the rich. Star of Royalton.
One day, the Wachowskis found a green screen and were like, holy shit.
It's free real estate.
It's free real estate.
Literally, I could animate so much land. Like, look at this. Now look at this.
Look at this suburban 70s home that we can CG even though we don't need to.
My fucking God, dude.
Look at this Hot Wheels racetrack that we just fucking computer generated. It's amazing.
The last one I'll bring here is one I debated whether or not I should bring in the first place, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Oh,
this
boy, here we go.
Is Top Gun for gay people. I don't know where they are bringing the gay people part in. Maybe because are the Wachowskis gay?
Okay.
I don't know.
No. I think a better description would just be flamboyant. Maybe I think that's like the energy they're going
All
for.
the high energy colors are what maybe are setting people off for this.
I would say the campiness in this movie is flamboyant, and that's not a dig. That's just, you know, a description of the film that we had available to us. And I would say that, yes, this is honestly, but Top Gun's kind of flamboyant too.
I was going to say to this person, I would wager that Top Gun is the Top Gun for gay people. Because
maybe. I don't
Top
know.
Gun has a lot of that, like bros being loving each other, you know?
Yeah, no,
Speed
absolutely.
Racer gay?
Well,
I think-
no, he has a girlfriend that he kisses in front of the whole world.
My uncle had a whole wife and kid before he figured out he was gay. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair enough.
Speed Racer energy comes off as like, you remember that scene in The Fifth Element with I think it was Chris Tucker?
No, because I don't even remember that fucking movie. What?
It's another Bruce Willis film, in fact. You should
Oh
go
my
watch
God.
it. It's a fantastic movie. This movie is like what Chris Tucker was in The Fifth Element, but the entire way through. And if you've seen The Fifth Element, then you know what I'm talking about. I would say that's very...
I'm sorry. Chris Tucker was in another movie besides Rush Hour?
that is correct, yes. And it was called The Fifth Element.
That is news to me. When did this happen?
You should watch The Fifth Element. It's a
Well,
very good
sounds
movie.
like you got a new movie to watch.
Actually, you know,
But,
I as I was looking through the facts for this movie, I wish I could remember which movie I saw, but the actor who plays Racer X in the movie, he's been part of a couple of different films. I got to go double check which movie it was, but there was some stuff that was in his repertoire or whatever you want to call it. And I was like, I think I remember these movies and they seem good. Okay, no, I remember. I don't remember the actor's name, unfortunately. But the actor for Racer X was in a movie called Band Slam. I never saw this movie, but I vividly remember the fucking like poster that would be, you know, put outside movie theaters for advertising. It's called Band Slam. From what I remember, the general fucking plot or whatever is like dorky dude, you know, the typical nerdy guy, whatever, enters a band. It's, I guess, to win like a battle of bands kind of competition, I assume. And he's in a band with Allison Milchaka and Vanessa Hudgens. And that's all I knew about this movie. And I wanted to see because that has to be good. That movie has to be good. And I want to go watch it.
I would say that.
Surely this is a good movie and we could find out. Watching Band
You
As
Slam.
can
Vanessa
find out.
Hudgens, it must be good.
Not just her, Allison Milchaka, bro. Like, you know, the music is slamming in there. Also, Rex Racer sings a song in there. I guess he has musical talent. I don't know, but I'm inclined to find out.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure a lot of actors and actresses have musical talent. in
Also,
some
random
capacity.
fact I found out about that movie. That movie was the last guest appearance David Bowie made in a film before he passed away in 2016.
Man, why'd you bring down the mood like that?
Why you gotta do that, Justin?
Why are we talking about this shitty Bandcamp movie or whatever it was
Well,
called?
how you gonna call this shitty? You never even seen it.
This one time at band camp,
It's also called Band Slam, okay?
All right, moving on. Do you have any other comments or concerns there, Christian?
No, I've got none.
All right. Well, I think we've accomplished something really great here. I'm glad we did this.
What was
This
it
was-
exactly? What did we accomplish?
We watched a movie that I have not seen since probably I was like, I don't know, 10
We
years old?
resurrected
No,
a
surely
movie
not
that
long.
I think all of us thought was going to be worse than it was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But with it beyond a shadow of a doubt, I thought it was going to be terrible. But honestly, I had a great time.
You know, now that I just remember this, Don Terrell, why did you recommend this to us? Please let us know. I'm very curious. Do you love this? Do you hate it? Like, what was your expectations here today?
He was probably like, I wanted to make you guys watch something you wouldn't watch otherwise.
Which is fair enough. Because I would not have ever gone back to this movie unless it were for a specific reason, I think.
Can't confirm I would never come back to this movie, probably, before today. Now, you know, give it a couple of years, I'd probably watch it again.
Honestly, yeah, like in 2 years, I'm going to rewatch this movie.
He's already setting a timer for 2 years from this date.
Speaking of setting a
That's all I'm
timer,
saying, dude.
Christian, I think it was about 8-ish months until Christmas time. Trying to watch Santa Claus 2.
Yeah, if somebody pays me for it.
What?
Well, that's what happened the first time.
I mean, yeah, but like, would it just want to watch Santa Claus 2 with me? Just cause?
If you pay me for it,
How much you asking for?
give or take $80.
How about 20?
No deal.
20 minutes, 30-minute podcast, in and out.
20 minutes. The movie's like
20 minutes,
an hour and a
30-minute
half.
podcast.
I'm
in
at
and
20
out.
minutes, 30-minute
a
podcast, in and
20 to
out.
30 minute podcast. Well, I
Yeah.
still have to watch the movie for that, unless you want me to come in there, come in and be like, yeah, I didn't watch the movie, but I'll talk about it for 20 to 30 minutes.
It's just going to be me
Honestly,
lecturing you for 30 minutes.
That would honestly be kind of funny. That'd be a pretty decent gag,
I
honestly.
feel like
That sounds
that would go over awful. Yeah,
That'd be awful.
I mean, in reality, it would be terrible. But like, imagine that we
in
did
the
that
moment,
for like
it's a
5
funny
minutes.
post-production.
Right.
That's fucking awful and a waste of
Yeah.
fucking space on the internet.
in a world where somebody didn't pay me to watch the movie, yeah, it would be hilarious. But if somebody paid and was like, "Hey, can you watch Santa Claus 2?" Of course, I'm gonna go watch it. I'm not gonna screw them out of the reaction that they would.
All right,
that they
somebody
would want.
pay us, and by us, I mostly mean Christian, to watch Santa Claus 2. Please, I'm begging you.
You seem very about this. I'm not sure why. Santa Claus 1 was
wanna-
good, but like,
I want to finish reliving the nostalgia with Santa Claus 2, which is allegedly a better film according to my nostalgia brain. But also, I want to complete the trilogy because I never saw part 3. I want to see if it's good or probably really bad.
now someone's gonna do it, and they're gonna say just skip to 3.
I would possibly cry.
Then you'd be forced to do your own watch of 2.
Yo, we're
And
getting
not get
solo
paid for it.
cast number 3, baby.
All right, I think we've been here long enough. Thank you, Dan Terrell, for recommending Speed Racer. We had a good time, great time, and a mediocre time, respectively, amongst ourselves.
Just like this movie.
Yeah, in that order. Well, hold on. A great time, mediocre time, good time. That would be the order with which I would put this movie.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, no, anything else, guys, before we call it?
Not really. I would say Justin, do the thing next.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this, please follow us on Instagram and Twitter for potentially more panda views. We don't do a whole lot of these. Maybe we'll fix that. It's mostly if you pay us because we're just money hungry gremlins, apparently. If you wish to send us an email about stuff,
thing out loud.
if you wish to send us emails about stuff, you can do so at pandasightings@gmail.com. Also, for Twitter and Instagram, it's at pandasightings. I don't know if I said that properly the first time. If you wish to become like Down Terrell and pay us to watch shit, you can do so with Patreon. We're on Patreon, so you can donate money to us. Yeah. And you can also reach out to us on Discord. We have a link to our community Discord and a link tree in the description of this podcast and in our bios on our Twitter and Instagram. You can find us. Just reach out. Send a pension. We'll find it.
So they said that they actually they had a sequel prepared for this movie.
No
Do you think
shot.
that
What?
They did.
No
the
fucking
Wachowskis have already
shot.
written. They've already written the sequel, but unfortunately, this movie flops. They'll never make it. Do you think that Vin Diesel would have been a part of it? Do you think this could have been
No.
the Speed Racer
Stop.
and Fast and the Furious
Stop.
crossover extended universe?
That should have been Racer X all along.
I mean, I'm just saying.
What if Paul Walker was supposed to be Speed the entire time?
Oh,
Now that's Rex Racer. That's my Rex Racer. Paul Walker. My heart of hearts.
Hashtag my Rex Racer. We'll see if that one trends on Twitter.
Not my Rex Racer, more like
Yeah, not my Rex Racer.
get that
My
weak shit
fucking
off
God.
my track.
Oh my! What a just a
Oh, yeah,
line.
what a
What a
banger
random
line.
fucking
Holy
line
shit,
from that fucking
you
movie.
reminded me. Yeah, what
It was
a
a
great
great line.
line.
It's the best line in the whole movie, as far as I'm concerned. Besides that time a 10-year-old girl said retard.
Get that
Absolute
weak shit off my
violence.
track. Holy shit. What a fucking out of body experience, dude. Oh
Also,
my
didn't
God.
Sparky flip off a dude from an elevator? Or did I imagine that?
I think it was a
No,
kid.
the
It was the
kid
kid
did, yeah,
Sprite,
the kid did.
Spritle.
Right. I mixed up the two names. This movie's wild.
This
2000s
movie
were
is
different.
wild.
Can't confirm. Anyway, bye.